I'm following one granddaughter, and I'm before another granddaughter. I always knew Donna had good friends, but when I walked in here today around noon and I looked at the group of people, all of us setting up for today, I looked at them and I said, I really need some heavy drugs. And within moments, I had a Xanax and all the Valley in my home. Thank you for Donna's friends. When I first met Mrs. Drummond, and that's what I called her, I thought she was a grown-up. She was a master of a farm that seemed almost like a movie. She had 3 unbelievably adorable kids. She had a cherry orchard. She had farm animals, including an obnoxious goat named Rover. She had a fabulous house and a reputation for fun parties. My husband constantly reminds me how hot she was. The stories about the parties always ended with, and if you stay long enough, she'll eventually wind up in the pool with no clothes on. I so thought she was a grown-up. She was 35 years old. She was the first and still the only person who ever said to me, socks up. She obviously wasn't a Sicilian. Like somebody changed the channel, Donna continued a life of many changes. She might not have sought all the changes, but she didn't seem scared of them. From a rental house near Burlingame, Fred Meyer, with her 3 kids, from a bookstore owner in Lake Oswego to a stockbroker at Merrill Lynch, collecting a very large portfolio of money that she managed. And then her kids were teenagers. I'm doing this quite quickly, don't you think? And then her kids were teenagers, and she established a new house in a neighborhood called Montmore, off Patton Road. Donna always referred to it as Wantmore. A new place to hold her dinner parties, a new place to command the dinner, a new place to command the dinner table. She made it seem simple, but I will lay money on the table that no one here has been fed better than they were fed by Donna Drummond. And we also started noticing that while it had started long before on the farm, we became more and more aware of the wonderful artwork that she had begun to collect and continued to collect through the rest of her life. Sort of an art collector's art collection. It wasn't just a collection of the best of the Pacific Northwest. It was new, it was different, it was exciting, and sometimes it was odd. Someone once wondered how Donna had the stamina to go to and to sit through all the contemporary art that she dragged us to and that she made us go to. PCVA, I'm not bad enough. PCVA, PICA, Disjecta, and performances and exhibitions not under any particular institution. During some of these performances, the only reasonable response is to want to hang yourself. But Donna's motto was, you have to kiss a lot of frogs. That seems sort of remarkable from a woman with less than perfect patience. Donna was a fun board member of Portland Arts and Lectures. She was a great mentor, and she was a perfect board member, but she didn't suffer fools gladly. During the 3rd year, I guess Donna had spent too many meetings listening to me whine on and on about whether to stay in the First Congregational Church with only 1,000 seats or whether to move to the Schnitz with close to 3,000 seats. I could go on and on about the pros and cons of each, the intimacy of the smaller hall, and yet the demand for tickets that the Schnitz could fulfill. After one too many times, and what I thought was just a normal, another board meeting, she finally stood up raised her hands and said, "Julie, just move the goddamn series." I think we were in the shits within 2 months. Certainly, as the years went by, her travels and her physical adventures grew more notable. Her trekking, her skiing, her biking, both here and very far away. When Donna came back from Nepal, she had stories, but everyone I know who goes to Nepal has stories. She came back with photos, but everyone I know who goes to Nepal has photos. But taken in a small village in Nepal, once in a small village in Nepal, Donna took out her camera and captured Reinhold Messner. Really, Donna? Reinhold Messner? But nothing escaped her. It never surprised us that she would be the one to bring this home to us. What was always central to her during all of this was her continued delight in the adventures and the interests of her kids. Alex's art and Alex's mind, Jane's not so mentionable art gallery days, and then into medicine, and that's travels and immersion in the Grateful Dead, and finally work as an architect and as a wonderful father. Everyone's kids had news, but her kids were far from the conventional stories. We followed her to a fancy Bob Thompson designed house near the Arboretum, and then to a loft on Northwest Lisa. We barely knew what a loft was, and no one had yet uttered the words, the Pearl. And finally, what appeared to be just a square box on Southwest First, but it became her home, and with it, her art, her warmth, her cleanliness, and front and center, her dining room table. I think my drugs are there. But more front and center than that dining room table was her glorious grandchildren, Dolly, Bennett, Turner, and Maisie. She craved time with them at their homes and on travels together. The one photo I keep going back to on Caring Bridge over and over is the one of her reading to Maisie. Somewhere, everyone wishes they had a grandmother like Donna, who read to us, who involved herself in our interests, and who loved us with no limitations. What I'm sure still struck us all about visiting Caring Bridge, some of us almost hourly, was the vast network of people that she knew and that she played with. The most common refrain from many of us over the last several weeks has been, "You knew Donna?" And old friends have come together that we all knew we only knew each other through Donna. She had her biking group and her skiing buddies, her ladies who lunch group. I say that like I keep calling them ladies. Who met right before Christmas, I think, at Jake's. Her travel partners, her Merrill Lynch family, her Jane Austen reading group, is it Jane Austen group standing right there? Her investment group, and her Bloomsbury reading group. I think they stopped quickly reading Bloomsbury. Her friends who danced with her, and her Third Angle family, and the posse she took with her to China when Third Angle was playing there. One of the people in that group remembers Donna's caretaking, but also her fierce independence to march the Great Wall alone, with her walking poles, leaving everybody else behind. They also quote often something that I don't know if it was said there or it was said before that, but quoting Donna, they say, "I may not be right, but I certainly will have an opinion."